يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا والسماء بناء وأنزل من السماء ماء فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم فلا تجعلوا لله أندادا وأنتم تعلمون.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His final Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and upon his family and companions, and whoever follows in his footsteps until the last day. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala narrated a hadith which is known as the hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam, in which he says a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba. This man looked like he hadn't travelled. He had very black hair, very white clothes, although no one knew him. So that was kind of strange. How could someone be in a small city like Medina and not be known, yet not look like he came from travelling? This man then sat next to Prophet ﷺ and asked him about the pillars of Islam, then the pillars of Iman. Pillars of Iman, Prophet ﷺ mentioned that Iman is to believe in Allah, His books, His prophets, last day, resurrection, and predestiny. Today, inshallah, we're looking at the first of these pillars, the pillars of Iman, the belief in Allah. What does the word Allah mean? Many people may have heard of the word Allah, even non-Muslims. Non-Muslims tend to think that Allah is a Muslim God. I mean, if you look into it, you can find people claiming that Allah is a moon god, they say, or whatever. Allah comes from the word al-ilah, which is the worshipped. Allah in Arabic is God. Allah is the Arabic word for God. So a Muslim says La ilaha illallah, saying there is no God worthy of worship except God. Okay, seeing as we know what Allah means now, we're going to look into some of the Islamic beliefs in regards to Allah. Muslims believe that there is only one God, one unique God. This concept, the concept of having one God in Islam, is called tawheed. Tawheed comes from the word wahada, which is to make one. So when you believe in tawheed, you believe that God is one. To make it a bit simpler, we're going to break up tawheed into different parts. The first type of tawheed is tawheed al-ma'rifah wal-ithbat, the tawheed of knowing and affirming, which means basically we believe in what Allah told us about Himself. We know and affirm that. We affirm what He has affirmed for Himself. That then is split into two parts: Tawheed al-Asma' wal-Sifat and Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. Tawheed al-Rububiyyah is the Tawheed of Lordship, which means Allah is the Lord, He is the Creator, Sustainer, He is in control. Nothing happens without Him allowing it. That's the first type of Tawheed al-Ma'rifah wal-Ithbat. The second type of this type of Tawheed is Tawheed al-Asma' wal-Sifat, the Tawheed of the names and attributes of Allah. Here we believe that Allah has the best names and attributes. We affirm the names and attributes which Allah has given Himself, and whatever He has told us He doesn't have, then we deny it. Whatever He has denied, we deny. Whatever He didn't affirm nor deny, we stay silent and don't talk about. For example, Allah said in the Quran, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. None is like Him, and He is all seeing, all hearing. This ayah is very important in the topic of tawheed al-asma' sifat, because it joins between affirming and denying. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ. There is nothing like Him. Here Allah denies that anything is like Him. Allah hears and we hear. Allah sees and we see. Allah has hands and we have hands. But those attributes Allah has aren't like our attributes. They are similar but different. If you look at the creations, even though Allah is on a different level, okay? Look at, let's say, elephant and a person. They both have legs. The leg of an elephant is very different than the leg of a person, even though they both have legs. That meaning of the word leg, for example, or hand, or sight, which is not, let's say, if you could imagine that word, not related to anything, not the leg of a person or the leg of an elephant, just the word leg, that is what we affirm to Allah. Everything else, we don't talk about it, we deny it, or we stay quiet about it. Allah has sight. That doesn't mean that He has eyes, doesn't mean that He has eyelashes. Other ayahs prove that He has eyes, but the word sight doesn't mean He has eyes. Allah also said in the Quran, بَلْ يَدَاهُ مَبْسُوطَتَانِ. Verily, His two hands are extended in giving, generosity. Okay? This ayah affirms that Allah has hands. That does not mean that Allah has fingernails or He has hair on His hands. No, we only affirm the word hands only. Some people gone astray in this topic and they think that hands means power. They do what's called tawheed, which is changing the meaning of the word to a secondary meaning which could be understood but isn't direct. So hand means power, or they'll say hand means strength, means giving, means generosity. They won't say that hand means hand, which is completely unacceptable. Another common mistake is I say that hand is a word that has no meaning. It's just a word. These people, they thought in their heads that for Allah to have a hand, He must have a hand like my hand. Therefore, they denied that Allah has a hand. But Allah in the Quran said He has a hand, and there's no evidence to prove that He meant other than a real hand. So we affirm that Allah has a real hand, but we don't go into details. What are His hands like, or this or that? As Imam Malik, rahimahullah, says, he has a famous statement. A man came to Imam Malik and said, how is the istiwa of Allah? Istiwa is to raise above. Allah says in the Quran, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. Imam Malik thought for a moment. He put his head down and thought for a moment. Then he looked up and said, the istiwa of Allah is known. The meaning of the word istiwa is known. The istiwa is known. The kayf is majhul. The kayf basically means the how. What is the attribute like? Go into depth description. That is unknown because Allah didn't tell us about it. It's mandatory to believe in what Allah told us, the istiwa, and it's bid'ah, innovation, to ask about the details which the Prophet or the Sahaba didn't ask. That's a general rule in regards to the names and attributes of Allah. I want to go to depth here. Inshallah, it won't be too confusing. Second type is tawheed al-qasd wa-talab, or tawheed al-uluhiyah. This is the actions that we do to Allah. We worship Allah alone. That covers many different aspects and types of worship. In Islam, you have worship of the heart, fearing Allah alone, level of respect, level of love. You have belief, iman, sincerity. They are all actions of the heart. Some of the great rewards you can get are from actions of the heart. In fact, maybe the greatest. Secondly, is the actions of the body. Giving charity, walking to the mosque, fasting, actions of the body. Thirdly, actions of the tongue. Reading Quran, doing dhikr, are all forms of actions. The concept of worship is a very broad topic in Islam. Inshallah, in the future I'm hoping to make a video about that. That was a summary of the meaning of Allah, the meaning of tawheed, the meaning of believing in Allah in Islam. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.